Hello everyone. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to build a DIY antenna using 2 metal drill bits. First, I wrap a copper wire around the shank of the drill bit. This copper wire will act as the signal connection point for the antenna. Next, I use pliers to tighten the copper wire securely to create a stronger and more stable electrical connection. After that, I bend the copper wire into a zigzag shape. This design helps the wire function like a small signal receiving element for the DIY antenna. Next, I use a wooden block as the base for this DIY antenna. The wooden base helps hold the 2 drill bits securely and keeps the antenna stable during use. First, I use a ruler to measure the correct spacing for mounting the drill bits. After that, I use a marker to mark the drilling positions on the wooden surface. Next, I use a drill to make holes at the marked positions. I try to drill as straight as possible so the drill bits can fit securely into the base. Once finished, I insert the 2 drill bits into the newly drilled holes in the wood block. Then, I reuse the sawdust created during drilling as a filler material around the mounting points. The sawdust helps fill gaps and improves the grip of the glue. Finally, I apply glue around the base of the drill bits to hold them firmly in place on the wooden base. After the glue dries, the antenna structure becomes much stronger and more stable. Next, I use pliers to cut off the excess copper wire from the 2 drill bits to make the connection look cleaner and prevent the wires from touching each other. After that, I use a wire terminal block as the central connection point for the antenna. This component helps connect the copper wires together and creates a more stable signal connection. Next, I attach the copper wires from the drill bits to the terminal block. I tighten the screws to ensure the copper wires make solid contact with the metal connectors inside the terminal block. Once the connection is complete, I apply hot glue around the terminal block to secure it onto the wooden base. At this point, the main structure of the DIY antenna is starting to come together and looks much more solid. In the next step, I'm going to reuse these two Coca-Cola cans to create the signal reflector dishes for the antenna. First, I use a drill to make a small hole in the center of the bottom of each can. These holes will be used later to mount the cans onto the antenna structure. Next, I use a piece of sandpaper to thin down the bottom surface of the cans. Making the metal thinner helps simplify the assembly and attachment process later on. I place the bottom of the can directly against the sandpaper and begin sanding it evenly. After sanding, I now have two round metal discs made from the bottoms of the Coca-Cola cans. I attach these two metal discs onto both sides of the antenna to complete the reflector section of the antenna design. Once assembled, the antenna starts looking much more like a real signal receiver device. Here I have a connector jack set used to connect the antenna to a TV. This connector will allow the antenna signal to be transferred into the television antenna port. Next, I use a signal cable as the connection wire for the antenna. This type of cable includes shielding that helps reduce interference and maintain a more stable signal during use. First, I use a utility knife to cut a small section from the end of the signal cable to expose the metal shielding mesh inside. Then, I twist the metal strands together neatly to prevent them from fraying during the connection process. Next, I remove a small section of insulation from the inner core wire to prepare it for signal connection. Next, I attach the connector jack to the end of the signal cable to complete the TV connection setup. After that, I wrap electrical tape around the cable end to insulate and protect the connection more securely. For the other end of the signal cable, I repeat the same wire stripping process as before. Finally, I connect the signal cable to the antenna terminal block to complete the entire wiring system. At this point, the DIY antenna is fully assembled using metal drill bits, combined with signal reflector dishes made from Coca-Cola cans and a signal cable connected to the TV. The antenna design looks quite unique while still appearing sturdy and neatly finished after assembly. Now I'm going to test the antenna in real-world conditions to see how well it can receive signals. Now I'm going to switch channels on the TV to check whether the device can receive signals without an antenna connected. As you can see, without the antenna attached, the TV is completely unable to detect any signal. The screen displays a no signal message, meaning that no television channels are being received at all. Next, I connect this homemade antenna to the back of the TV for a real-world test. Immediately after connecting it, the channels appear almost instantly. The picture quality looks quite clear and stable, showing that the antenna works better than I originally expected. I continue switching through multiple channels to test the signal stability further. The channels display smoothly, and the signal remains stable during use. To test it more accurately, I remove the antenna and reconnect it one more time. As soon as I disconnect the antenna, the signal disappears almost immediately. And when I reconnect it, the channels return and display normally again. This proves that this DIY antenna can actually work effectively in real-world conditions, even though it was built mostly from old parts and recycled materials. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to support the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next DIY videos.